Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show, where I try to bring you new providers, new technologies, and introduce you to the best professionals in the industry, all so you can make informed decisions. Today, I'd like to welcome a very special friend of mine. Scott White spent over 33 years building up VAST, a regional insurance and risk management firm originally founded way back in 1885 in Marquette, Michigan. VAST was merged into Acrisure, a Grand Rapids-based network of insurance agencies that is one of the top 10 insurance brokers in the world. I had the pleasure of meeting and working with Scott when I was an advisor for the Insight Performance Group. Scott was inducted into the Michigan Insurance Hall of Fame in 2021, and he became the second recipient ever to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award from ProAssurance that same year. Honestly, I can't think of any person in any industry that I could compare to Scott in terms of business success, integrity, results, humility, and simply being a super solid human being. Scott, welcome to the Top Gun Show.
Thanks, Steve. It's so great to be here with you and on the infamous Top Gun Show. And most importantly, thank you for the very kind words, buddy.
It's all true, man. I wouldn't say that about anybody else but you. So it's an honor to have you here. So first question, I wanted to interview you on the show today to talk about your new book. You just released it. It's entitled Resign to Success, Using an Exit Plan to Build Hope, Energy, and Success in a Business. So what's the book about?
Well, it clearly details my personal exit from my business. I share the critical components that made my journey successful and rewarding. I share how I wrote my post-dated resignation letter. I actually wrote it and shared it with my family, partners, and ultimately my team almost 3 years prior to my actual exit date. I identify the number one asset you have in planning your exit is time. Not giving yourself enough time can possibly result in poor planning, choosing the wrong successors, and ultimately not being personally prepared for the next step for yourself, your family, and your team. Way too many people don't value the time element of the human side of succession planning. It details the incredible guidance I received from my co-author, Larry Linney. As my personal coach since 2008, Larry knew me and my business extremely well. In addition to him being a certified exit planner, he recaps each chapter with his advice on the topic. And, the proper perpetuation and business continuity was so important to me that I wanted this last journey with my business to be as special as any I ever experienced.
Well, that's a great answer. Larry Linney, I love the guy. I worked for him. I had the pleasure of working for him for a few years at Insight Performance Group. And I don't think I've ever met a more driven professional in any industry than Larry. I mean, the guy, if just rubbing shoulders with him makes me smarter. I mean, I can imagine having him be your coach since 2008. That's great. I love the fact that you wrote your resignation letter 3 years in advance. That wasn't written in, an emotional hot day, right? I mean, you really had to plan that thing out. That's amazing.
Well, it's actually, when you read the book, there's a chapter on that. And Larry had been challenged me for almost a year prior to that to write the darn thing. And I finally got around to it. And, in the book, I talk about how I was building up, and I finally just pulled over on the interstate in northern Michigan at a rest area, pulled up my iPad and wrote it in 15 minutes. And it was the most liberating thing I ever did. And I probably had 4 or 5 drafts from that post and 90% of it never changed. It was amazing how much clarity it gave me. It was amazing.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, there's a link down below to buy the book, but who's the audience that can benefit the most from reading the book?
People, the simple thing is, if you're, a business person who wants to leave your, business in a better place than you found it, if you have the opportunity to determine and or influence who your successors will be, if you want to position yourself for the next phase of your life, I believe you will gain an understanding how valuable, building a proactive plan can be.
Yeah, and I would guess that the beneficiaries of the book, it wouldn't be just business owners that would want to buy the book. It would be key employees and other leaders in an organization to share on succession planning with your owner or owners. I think there's a huge wide audience for this. But what prompted you to write this book in the first place?
Well, as we've already talked about, my co-author Larry Linney has, worked with numerous business owners on their exit strategies. He's also witnessed countless others. Unfortunately, way too many of them aren't well thought out and ultimately successful. He believed the plan that we had built and the success we were experiencing was special. He thought the story was worth telling. So I believe this book can help motivate others to build their plan, to truly own it, and experience the success that I have been blessed with. This was truly a fun process. It created clarity and energy for myself and my team.
That's great, man. I love it. I love it. Is there a movie coming out soon after the book or what?
Well, confidentially, can we have a confidential conversation here?
Yeah, between you and me and the millions of viewers.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
I don't know if you're, a fan of Yellowstone, but that's kind of where Kevin Costner is seriously thinking about leaving Yellowstone for that.
That's great. Yellowstone's had its run. They're kind of they're running out of content. I think picking up the book and doing a movie on that with Kevin, he can't fill your shoes, but I think that would be a good role for him. I love it. Well, Scott, I know you've been following the Top Gun show for many years, and you're a huge fan. I know there are millions and millions of people watching you right now. Why don't you tell the viewers, if you could meet anyone, dead or alive, who would that person be, and what question would you ask him or her?
Well, as a big or huge Green Bay Packer fan, I would love to ask Vince Lombardi how he would handle the Aaron Rodgers situation today.
That's a good one. Aaron's still not on the Jets, right? I mean, he's still...
Yeah. But on a more serious note, I'd really love to ask my great-grandfather why he chose to leave Italy in the early 1900s and how our family then ultimately ended up in the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, where we averaged almost 200 inches of snow every winter. So I'd love to find out that story.
It would just be like, what were you thinking?
Exactly.
I love it. Well, it turned out well. It turned out well for you and your family, man. Hey, Scott, I really appreciate you carving out time from sunny Florida right now to be on the Top Gun show and share with my viewers about your book. I hope it flies off the shelf. I hope you got a lot of copies made. But thank you so much for being on the show today, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Truly value the friendship, buddy. And it's really been an honor to be on the Top Gun show. Thanks, man.
Right on. Thanks for watching, everybody.